hero. Like, he was an incredible human being, and I gotta say that well, I gotta shout out John for seeing that a long time ago and capturing this. And I sincerely, there's so much to say, and I'm gonna be spending the rest of my life dedicating my energy to not only what I want to do in this world, but to preserving the memory of my twin brother, because I think we're really special, wonderful people. But yeah, in the worst and the best ways, I'm still figuring out how to manage my gifts and my curses. And I like to say that I'm the younger brother. I'm the easier, kind of simpler, more brother. I was the quote unquote, for all intents and purposes, the weaker brother. But he was the evil twin. And one time we were walking down Queen Street, no, it was on Yonge Street. We're walking down Yonge Street, and somebody literally was like this, and he looked up and they saw us both walking, and they literally jumped back when they saw the impact of our energy, both of us together. And he smiled and he goes, ha, 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 I'm the evil twin, ha, ha, ha. And like and at that moment I was like, wow, I love this guy. I've been afraid of him. You'll see in this movie, there was a time where right at the beginning of his diagnosis and the mystery of what happened to him, which I'm still figuring out, like age 21, I'm living on Jarvis, and he came to move in with me, and it was right when things took the internal left turn that they always did, well, they did in a life story. I was sleeping with him in the corner of the room in my bachelor apartment, and I went to sleep that night holding a knife in my hand, because I was like, I don't really know who that person is. He's physically my twin brother, but his mind and his spirit is just different. And it's been an incredible, wild roller coaster beyond belief. John captured some of it. I think the rest of the people in the world who ever hear the myth of Khari, conspiracy, Stewart, they might not believe the things he said and done, but he did it all, he said it all. Shout out to Dr. Warmick, because Khari was similar to the doctor, and he was also a teacher and a healer and a mystic. And he was beyond his body, he was beyond his mind. He kind of didn't want to be here. Like 45 years with him was a real blessing. And to be honest, life was kind of weird, because it started at 21, kind of around for me. So he kind of, quote unquote, died at 21, but he was still here, but he was the different version of him. And so when it happened at 45 this summer, I was on Hanlon's Point at the beach, and it was the most beautiful and horrible day I ever kind of lived. And there was this weight that was lifted off me. I was kind of waiting to hear that for 20 plus years. So when I got the call on July 7th this year that he's no longer with us, I was like, fuck, that sucks. And God bless, that's wonderful, because he's no longer feeling the pain and suffering that he's been feeling since he was 21. So it's the most bittersweet, beautiful, wonderful, horrible, educational thing. I felt every emotion. I'm still healing. This is only one of the first or second times I've talked in public about it. I can barely listen to Supreme Being Unit music, but sometimes I do. I had a really shitty week 3 weeks ago where everybody and everything in the world was going really fucking horrible. And then I actually was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch some videos on YouTube of conspiracy, because conspiracy, you could depend on him in certain ways. He could be mystical and whatever, but he is hilarious, and he was always him. He was uncompromisingly himself. In a world full of fucking frauds and fakes and liars and whatever, that dude didn't give a fuck and lived his life and his dream and his energy and told his truth beyond anybody I ever knew. And I love him forever for it. And there's so much to say and whatever, but I really gotta say this documentary is a spectacular piece of work. And I'm gonna be immortalizing him in special ways for the rest of my life, but the last thing I wanted to say is, I shout out John for doing this, because I really wanted Spike Lee and Steven Spielberg to discover my brother and do a documentary on, because this guy is beyond. This is a human beyond most life, and it's a blessing. It's a bit of a curse, but when these people aren't here anymore, I'm like, man, I wish he would just be sitting in the back of the room, inappropriately freestyling through something and doing something really obnoxious or weird or out of place, because that was him, and I love him for it. And I thank you for this, John. So yeah, let's watch Mars Project.